Good evening, everybody. I really hope you're well. I wanted to do a talk this week about food being medicine. This is something that I've spoken about for the last 3 years, if not longer, but definitely 3 years online since we've had our VIP studio, really, and how food very much is medicine. I talk about movement being medicine, but very much food is medicine. And this is going to be kind of in two veins that really kind of cross over together as well. How food can affect women's health with regards to PMS, PMT, any health conditions that women might be experiencing, like menopause symptoms, perimenopausal symptoms, but other things like endometriosis, fibroids, polycystic ovaries, all of those kind of things. And then also how it can affect mental health. And this is quite a kind of current at the moment because a lot of people are speaking today about Glastonbury and how obviously Lewis Capaldi, if anyone saw it, had a situation where he was struggling hugely with his mental health whilst on stage, something that he's been struggling with and quite open about. And I absolutely love Lewis Capaldi, and I'm not here to pass judgment on him in any way, shape or form. But one thing I did do was I watched his documentary quite a while ago, and I really noticed that how his mental health, but also his condition for his Tourette's, massively changed with regards to his diet and what he was eating. So when you started watching the documentary, he wasn't eating very well. He was staying literally eating fast food, junk food, takeaways, McDonald's, lots of things like that, very highly processed foods. Nothing with any real substance, nothing with nutrients at all. Wasn't drinking any water, literally drinking like fizzy drinks, but also a lot of alcohol as well. And then he started to realize that he needed to look after himself a little bit better. I think he was having therapy with his mental health. And they talked about his diet because it's something that's incredibly evident at the moment and has been for the last couple of years. Certainly when people are talking about mental health matters. And he started eating differently. And he lost weight, but not really trying to do that. And then he started experiencing a little bit more clarity, a little bit more difference with regards to his mental health. His Tourette's definitely got better when he started fueling his body right. He actually, I think, was having a bit of meal prep done for him, which was working really well. Now, whether or not he's still having that, I don't know. But it's really quite obvious that when somebody starts to look after what they're putting in them, it affects how they're feeling, not only externally, but internally, not only with their organs, but also with their mind. And I wanted to give you a little bit of scientific evidence with regards to the way that food actually affects mental health and why, to start with, and then how it massively has affected women's health. And this is something that a lot of women who are on our body transformation have experienced firsthand, something I experienced firsthand. And there's a lot of scientific evidence out there as well on how it can absolutely make your symptoms, whatever it is that you're going through with regards to your women's health, whether it's your endometriosis like me, or heavy periods, painful periods, or perimenopausal symptoms, menopausal symptoms, it can massively affect it. So let's first of all talk about how food can affect our mental health. And absolutely, our diet can affect our mental health. Existing research in the field of nutritional psychiatry suggests that our diet can affect our mental and our emotional health. The food that we eat affects our gastrointestinal system, gastrointestinal system, which directly ties to our brain. We talk about that correlating, like the gut being the second brain. And it's the way that we process our emotions. So it can influence the physiological and the inflammation of our brain and the intestinal system. So sugar and processed carbohydrates that people may eat can actually worsen mood disorders that people may experience. So things like anxiety and depression, while nutrient-rich foods actually can help reduce the symptoms and improve mental well-being. Experts recommend eating a balanced diet and that allows for occasional treats can be one of the best ways with therapy or other help that you may need to help with your mental health symptoms. So there's studies out there that have a little look at, the way, what things that we eat, things that we drink, how it affects us, the way that we feel. And essentially what they're saying is the healthier our foods that we eat, the better this can be with regards to our symptoms and kind of how it affects our moods from here. Little bit of information for you from Mind, and obviously Mind is the mental health charity, one of the leading mental health charities here in the UK. Some studies suggest that what we eat and we drink can affect how we feel. It can be difficult to know what to eat, especially when healthier food can be quite expensive, and it can be hard to think about our diet when we're struggling with our mental health. And some people don't feel like eating at all, but we all react differently to the things that are in our diet. Some foods and drinks may affect how we feel in different ways. So with regards to this, there's a couple of kind of tips that they give that might help people when thinking about what they eat and what they drink. They only give it as a guide, but essentially people may find it a little bit more achievable and helpful than someone who puts someone on like a really strict diet in any way, shape or form. So the first thing is blood sugar levels. If your blood sugar is lower than usual, you might feel tired, irritable or depressed. So eating regularly and eating foods that release slow energy rather than fast energy can actually help to keep those sugar levels a bit more steady. So with regards to that, you want to think about like whole wheat or whole grain, bread, cereal, nuts, seeds, brown pasta, brown rice, in comparison to things like white pasta, white bread, crisps, white rice, which essentially release energy very, very quickly. And this can actually help you feel a little bit more energized. And especially if you're suffering with your mental health, that can be super, draining anyway. Obviously, drinking fluids, staying hydrated can help clarity of the mind, because your brain is literally, I think it's 60 or 70% water. So the more hydrated you are, the clearer your thoughts are. You may not have the energy or the motivation to drink lots of fluid, but if you become dehydrated, this can make it even harder for you to concentrate or think clearly. So anything that you can drink, like fruit teas, whether or not that's smoothies, water with fruit in it, can help you feel hydrated. Try and refrain from the caffeine. Try and refrain from the sugary drinks, because that can affect you in different ways as well. And if you can try to kind of track your hydration through your urine, that will always tell you as well whether or not you're hydrated or not. So the color of your urine should be completely clear. And if it's not, you essentially are dehydrated. Things like eating fruit and vegetables can add nutrients, within our body. And those nutrients can help us mentally and physically be healthy. Fresh fruit and vegetables, I know, can sometimes be expensive, sometimes be more difficult to prepare. So people could opt for frozen, they could opt for tinned if you want to. They could always count as a cheaper alternative. Frozen veg and frozen fruit is absolutely fine. But definitely that will help you be able to give those nutrients to your body and make you feel better. and give you a little bit more clarity. Diets higher in protein can massively as well support mental health, because protein contains chemicals called amino acids, which help your brain that needs to produce chemicals called neurotransmitters. Now, Jason did a talk on amino acids last week, and these amino acids, these neurotransmitters, can help regulate your thoughts and your feelings. And he did that big talk on them and the importance of them and how they can affect you, but massively they can affect your mental health. So if somebody isn't getting enough protein and they're not getting enough amino acids, these neurotransmitters are going to be kind of pushed down. They're going to be stopped. They're going to be blocked in a way. So eating foods like legumes, which are like peas, beans, lentils, nuts and seeds, full fat milk, fish, eggs, cheese, lean meats, soy products as well can be a great way of getting extra protein in that are going to help those neuromuscular transmitters in your brain and help kind of give you that clarity with regards to your mental health. Your brain also needs certain fatty acids, such as omega-3 and omega-6, to keep you working and healthy and your brain healthy. We want to focus on the omega-3s more than ever. These are things like nuts and seeds, avocado, oily fish like sardines, mackerel, salmon. And those healthy fats are going to massively support you hormonally when you're feeling low. And essentially, they will be good for your gut health as well. There's also things that can disrupt your mental health, like alcohol. And obviously, drinking too much alcohol can disrupt chemicals in the brain that are important for good mental health. So some of us with mental health problems may depend on alcohol to help them with the way that they're feeling. So essentially, if you are experiencing kind of a bit more of a crutch with regards to things like maybe alcohol or caffeine, fizzy drinks, you might want to speak to somebody about that in order to get a little bit more support, a little bit more help, but definitely to try and, prevent those, to reduce those down is going to help you with regards to being able to keep a good clarity of mind and a good kind of mindset from there instead. So with that in mind as well, if we're thinking about hormonal health, the food that we eat can make a huge difference to our hormonal and our women's health. And the way that this works is the more inflammatory the food, the more inflammatory it's going to be within your guts and in your body. So if you know you suffer with bloating, if you suffer with really bad PMT, PMS, where you are struggling with heavy periods, painful periods, painful endometriosis, painful fibroids, all of these symptoms can hugely be reduced by actually reducing inflammation in your diet. So if you stop the inflammatory foods, you stop the sugar, you stop the processed foods, you stop the highly trans fats, fizzy drinks, heavy amounts of caffeine, heavy amounts of alcohol, all of these things are going to make a huge difference with regards to you internally. And this is something that the Body Transformer ladies have really experienced. I've had a lot of their check-ins where they've said, God, I didn't even know I was having a period. And that was me when we did our prep. I was like, oh, am I coming on my period today? I didn't even know. Whereas normally the week leading up to my period, I feel hormonal. I'm often teary. I'm getting period pains. I'm getting sore boobs. Everything's ticking along, beforehand, giving me all the signs. I know exactly when I'm coming on. Whereas when I was on my prep, because I was eating so well, eating so clean, and I'd really reduced all the sugars down, I'd reduced all the processed foods down, I wasn't having anything processed at all. I actually practically didn't know I was coming on my period, and it just happened, and it was like, oh, there it is, and now it's gone. And a lot of the ladies are saying the same thing, they're having a period, but they're nowhere near as heavy as they normally were, or nowhere near as painful as they normally are. They're not emotional the way they normally are. And this is all because we're reducing the amount of inflammation that we're putting into our body. And what I'm talking here is about, heavily sugared foods, processed carbohydrates that are heavily processed, white versions, or carbohydrates that essentially are things like cakes, biscuits, all of those kind of things, lots of heavy sugar, caffeine, and alcohol. And it doesn't need to take a scientist to tell you this. We pretty much know it, that when we eat good, we feel good. We feel good on the outside. We look good on the outside. We feel good on the inside. We feel good up here as well. So it can make a huge difference. All I say to you is if you're not on the Body Transformer program with us, maybe give yourself a week of eating reduced amount of processed food, reduced amount of sugar, reduced amount of caffeine, reduced amount of alcohol. See how you feel. Increase your hydration, increase your good fats, increase complex carbohydrates, increase protein, the amount of fruit and vegetables you eat. Just see how good you feel. Most people have no idea how good they can feel. 100%, they can feel so much better than they think they can. They literally wake up every morning and think having a headache or feeling tired, feeling lethargic, feeling bloated is the norm. That's just the way I am. It's not. You're not meant to wake up like that. You're not meant to feel like that. You are meant to feel good. You're meant to wake up with energy. You've been asleep for like 6 hours. You're meant to wake up feeling energized. You're meant to wake up feeling clarity. You're not supposed to be experiencing fluctuations with regards to your moods. You are supposed to feel a lot more stable. But often if that's going on, changes are hormonally going on in your body, say, for instance, a woman experiencing the menopause where hormones are changing, if you're then putting even more emphasis on that and more strain on those hormones by heavily processing food into your diet, increasing the amount of caffeine you're drinking, increasing the amount of alcohol you're drinking, decreasing the amount of water, you're setting yourself up to feel even worse. So I hope that's been food for thought, pardon the pun, tonight. And please let me know if there's any questions at all. There has been a couple of videos that I've done in the past. Feel free to search those on the magnifying glass. You can put in health talks, mental health. You could put in hormonal health, women's conditions, anything like that, and they'll all come up. I've done lots and lots of talks on them in the past. So feel free to have a view of those as well. But I wanted to just reiterate what we talk about, what we're doing on body transformation, and how it can affect in a really positive way these two things if you start fueling your body right and really thinking about food being medicine. But it also can be a complete poison if you are not giving yourself the food and the drink that you need. So let me know any questions. Otherwise, thank you for joining me tonight. Have a fantastic evening, everyone. See you later.